Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily and here on my channel I make mostly crystal and geology videos. So if you're interested in learning more about crystals, be sure to subscribe because I put out new videos just about every week. Today's crystal chat video is going to be all about lepidolite. We're going to talk about its geology and formation, spiritual properties, and some controversy and fakes, so I'm excited to get into today's crystal. Lepidolite is a member of the mica mineral group containing lithium, and it gets its purplish color from manganese and other element inclusions. Micas are phyllosilicate minerals, meaning they form in sheets. These sheets are thin and fragile and can even be pulled apart, similar to selenite. However, not all lepidolite is found in sheets like this. Mica can come in a variety of different crystal structures, including massive, which means there's no obvious crystal structure and the crystals themselves are too small to be seen with the naked eye. On very rare occasions, lepidolite can form botryoidally, but even then it is still noticeably in sheets. It's very platy and scaly looking. Lepidolite may also form hexagon shapes, even though lepidolite is not a part of the hexagonal crystal system. Lepidolite is part of the monoclinic crystal system, so these hexagons are considered pseudo-hexagons. Crystal systems describe the way the atoms within the crystal structure are oriented, which then translates to the way the crystal appears externally. Lepidolite is purple mica. They are not two different things. However, purple mica is often found within and alongside other minerals such as quartz, feldspar, clevelandite. Especially the materials sold on the market, this is usually not just purple mica on its own. It is usually purple mica combined with another mineral. This is why the lepidolite on the market may sometimes appear diluted in color or have a lot of white inclusions. It's because it's within another mineral. So even though the lepidolite on the market does often contain other elements aside from lepidolite, it's still considered lepidolite. So I think that's where the confusion comes from, but they are not two different things. Lepidolite is the same as purple mica. Lepidolite can vary in its purple shade. It can come in different hues. It can also be pink, yellow, or colorless. Lepidolite is commonly found in pegmatites, which are coarse-grained igneous rocks, such as granite. Pegmatites often contain valuable minerals like aquamarine, topaz, tourmaline, and lithium ores. Lepidolite has a hardness of only 2.5 to 3 out of 10 on the Mohs scale of hardness, which is pretty low, but it is usually found within other rocks that give it a higher hardness overall. Gem lepidolite, or raw sheets of lepidolite, will have this lower hardness of 2.5 to 3 because this is just pure purple mica on its own. Pure lepidolite on its own is very difficult to cut and carve and polish into shapes because it is so fragile and you don't really get individual sheets of it that are very big, so you don't have a ton of material to work with. This is why you really only see small carvings of gem lepidolite like cabochons, little carvings, or palm stones, and it's usually very expensive. Gem lepidolite is definitely the most expensive kind of lepidolite because it's just so hard to polish like this, but if you get a raw piece like this, which is exactly the same quality of gem lepidolite, just not polished, these pieces are very affordable. This one was like only a couple dollars. Lepidolite is very often found alongside other minerals, which can create some pretty cool crystal combinations, such as amazonite with lepidolite and smoky quartz, and lepidolite with pink tourmaline and smoky quartz, which is known as unicorn stone. It's best to keep lepidolite out of water, especially for raw pieces. Pieces mixed with other minerals may have a higher resistance to water and be damaged less easily, so a quick rinse is fine. It's not going to hurt the stone, but just watch out for those raw pieces. Lepidolite is perfectly safe to be left out in the sun, and it's not going to change color over time. For lepidolite jewelry, just be extra cautious with gem lepidolite as it can scratch pretty easily. Lepidolite stones mixed with other minerals have a higher hardness overall, so you don't have to be as delicate with them. The color, formation, and crystal structure of lepidolite can vary based on where it's mined from. It can be found in India, Madagascar, Brazil, Canada, Russia, and the US. Really, it can be found all across the world because mica is such an extremely common mineral group, but it isn't always available in large mineable quantities. While lepidolite is very abundant on the crystal market, it's actually pretty rare within the earth because it requires very specific conditions and elements to be present. Lepidolite may be mined for its lithium content, however, it is usually a byproduct of mining other similar lithium-rich minerals that it forms alongside, which are more useful and valuable. There is a material on the crystal market called purple aventurine, and this has actually been tested and confirmed to be lepidolite, which makes a lot of sense. It looks just like lepidolite. It's noticeably sparkly and it's the same color. For the quality of lepidolite, like I mentioned, gem lepidolite is the highest quality that you can get. This is just pure polished lepidolite, typically with no other inclusions. It's very hard to polish, which makes it very expensive. It's also just very beautiful when polished. It's very shiny and shimmery, and it makes beautiful jewelry. Aside from these gem lepidolite pieces, lepidolite is typically very abundant and affordable on the crystal market. Most pieces on the market are standard, regular, good quality pieces. Low quality pieces of lepidolite are pretty uncommon, but they are noticeable because they're more dull, they don't have a very bright purple color, and they have more gray and brown than purple. There is surprisingly a lot of controversy and confusion surrounding lepidolite and how to tell if it's fake or not. For reference, lepidolite can look quite different depending on the location that it's mined from. Lepidolite can be light colored if it doesn't have a lot of impurities within the mica that could give it a darker color. Stones may also be light colored if they don't contain a lot of mica inclusions. Some lepidolite can be very dark and very densely packed with mica inclusions. So the main thing to look out for when we're talking about fake lepidolite is composite lepidolite. And honestly, I didn't even believe that this was a real thing until I saw it with my own eyes. I saw a video on TikTok of a sphere of lepidolite being cut open, and it wasn't lepidolite all the way through. It was just a layer of lepidolite on the surface and just a base rock in the middle. Composite lepidolite is made up of genuine lepidolite in resin over a base rock to give it a consistent sparkle and color. I've never seen one of these in person, so it's hard for me to say exactly what to look out for based on the pictures because a lot of them do just look like normal lepidolite. But based on what other people who have received composite lepidolite have said, apparently it feels heavy and has like a waxy texture on the surface. People who have received these have said that they could just tell right away that it wasn't quite right and it didn't look like other lepidolite pieces in their collection. If you're pretty familiar with crystals and have been collecting for a while, then you might just notice based on looking at it and feeling it that there's something off about it. I actually have received crystals before that were covered in a layer of resin. The crystals were garnerite and they were genuine stones. They were perfectly natural, perfectly great, but they were coated in like a clear layer of resin. So when I held them, I could definitely tell it wasn't a natural surface on the stone, which was really weird. It was probably just to keep them from breaking or falling apart, but I was very off-put to receive these in a shipment. But in that case, it was just like a clear coating, a clear sealant on top of a genuine stone. But for composite lepidolite, it is just to take a round rock and they just cover it with resin and lepidolite. The best way I can describe this composite lepidolite, just based on looking at the photos, is that it is just too even looking, it is too perfect, too sparkly, and every piece looks pretty much the same. There's no white inclusions, there's no imperfections, it just looks like all perfectly colored, perfectly spaced, sparkly lepidolite. Natural lepidolite usually has other minerals within and it's not perfectly sparkly. Plus with natural lepidolite, its appearance will vary from piece to piece, the color varies. Sometimes there's multiple shades of purple within one stone, whereas with these composite pieces, it's totally the same throughout. If your piece of lepidolite has a lot of white in it, that's actually a good sign to me that it's a natural stone because lepidolite does naturally form with these other minerals. If it has no white whatsoever and it is just solid purple, that's where you should be a little suspicious. Here's the best close-up photo I could find of a composite lepidolite that really shows what to look out for. I really hate to cause any fear-mongering around ordering crystals from China because there are plenty of really amazing reputable wholesalers in China. A lot of countries do just send their raw material to China because they have the means to efficiently cut and polish and distribute crystals. So it's pretty hard to entirely avoid buying crystals from China, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. There's a lot of good suppliers. But things like this composite lepidolite coming from China suppliers. The one example video I saw of it being cut open was from one of those Lucky Scoop suppliers on TikTok. And it just makes people more afraid to buy from suppliers in China, which is really unfortunate. But if they keep doing things like this, then people are really going to be wary. I've personally ordered lepidolite from China in the past, and I've noticed nothing suspicious about them. I've also gotten lepidolite from India and Madagascar. But now I'm kind of tempted to order some lepidolite from China the next time I place an order with my supplier. So maybe I'll order some lepidolite spheres and crack them open and see what's going on, because I really don't think all the lepidolite from China is this suspicious. I think it's just a few bad eggs, but I would like to put it to the test. So let me know if you'd like to see that. So while these composite lepidolite pieces do contain genuine lepidolite, they have clearly been altered and manipulated in a man-made kind of way. So this is probably not what people are expecting and hoping for when ordering lepidolite. Now, not all lepidolite spheres or carvings are composite lepidolite. There is raw, pure lepidolite that is very difficult to cut and polish, therefore it is ground up into these little pieces and mixed with resin to create a composite. But as we talked about, lepidolite does naturally form with other minerals that hold it together and make it easier to cut and polish. I think sometimes people get composite lepidolite confused with lepidolite that looks like this, which is natural and genuine. For example, a piece of lepidolite that looks like this raw will be polished into something that looks like this, and that is completely natural. Whereas if you have a raw piece of lepidolite that looks like this, you can either try and polish it to look like this, or you can grind it up and mix it with resin and coat a base stone with it to get something that looks like this. So don't be fooled, not all carved lepidolite is composite lepidolite. It can be hard to tell if a piece of lepidolite is natural or not without seeing it in person yourself, asking the supplier, or just cracking it open. If you're pretty familiar with crystals, you might be able to tell just by looking at it if resin has been involved and it's not natural. It's unfortunate that this composite lepidolite exists, but I guess at least worst case scenario, if you do have a piece of this, at least it is composed of genuine lepidolite on the surface, even though it has been highly altered and manipulated to get to that point. So that's really the only fake lepidolite I feel like we need to discuss. Lepidolite isn't typically faked, and the vast majority of the stuff on the market is genuine and unaltered. But there is one thing I saw on TikTok that I need to debunk real quick, and I saw people saying that this lepidolite is fake, and it's not actually lepidolite, it is something called lilac jasper, whereas this lepidolite is the real version. This is not true, and like we discussed, lepidolite can look many different ways and still be natural. Not all lepidolite is going to be extremely sparkly and dark purple. Lepidolite can be very light colored and still be natural. It can show almost no sparkles at all and still be natural, because sometimes the crystals are just so small that you can't even really see them, but it still gives a stone that purple color. So there's actually a wide variety of ways that lepidolite can look. Maybe because they're light colored and mixed with white that people are saying that this one is not real, but the one that they say is real also has other inclusions. So I'm not sure. They're both natural lepidolite. Neither of these look suspicious to me in any way. So here's some photos that show the wide range of lepidolite stones and how different they can look. All of these are natural. So while lepidolite can form in these large sheets, it definitely doesn't always form like this. Sometimes mica crystals appear just as sparkly little specks within a stone. Or sometimes they're so small that the crystals can't even be seen with the naked eye. The color of the purple mica depends on how many element impurities are within the stone, and the color of a lepidolite can depend on how much mica is in it. If it doesn't have very much mica in it, it can be mostly quartz with just a few mica specks and it'll be much lighter colored, or it can be densely packed. And it can be dark purple and very sparkly. I've had some lepidolite tumbles in the past that have like very large pieces of mica in them, so even when tumbled, it causes them to be very lumpy looking. And even though it was full of large pieces of mica, those micas were light colored, so the stone was still light colored. So basically, at the end of the day, lepidolite can just look very different. It can be in a wide variety of purple hues. Sometimes it's sparkly, sometimes it's not. And I really feel like the only thing you need to look out for with lepidolite is that composite lepidolite. Lepidolite is associated with the heart and the crown chakras, and in my opinion, it is the best stone for peace and relaxation. It is great to work with if you experience anxiety or have difficulty sleeping. It helps with emotional healing and balance, providing you with a strong emotional foundation. It is a great stone to wear daily as jewelry or to keep in your pocket as a worry stone or a tumbled stone. Lepidolite is uplifting and keeps you in a positive mood when you're working with it. It's a great stone to keep on you when you're dealing with a lot of people, surrounded by a lot of people, which can be energetically draining. Lepidolite provides comfort in all situations, including being more comfortable with ourselves. Yes, Oracle is in the Christmas tree. She's not even trying to behave while she's on camera. Ma'am. At this point, like half of my ornaments are on the floor. I've just given up. I even bought them their own Christmas tree. It's so cute. I thought that would distract them from the real tree, but it has not. Bad, bad, bad. Lepidolite peacefully releases emotional blockages and negative behaviors, which helps to induce positive change in our life in a way that's not overwhelming. It helps prevent overthinking and spiraling into negative emotions. It is a great stone for meditation and spiritual work as it helps connect to higher realms. Working with lepidolite can bring issues to the surface that need to be resolved so we can evolve and continue on our spiritual journey. It provides comfort during difficult times and helps to remind us that everything is working out for our greatest good. Lepidolite brings hope and reassurance during difficult times. It's a great stone to work with if you need help getting your life back in order. It is gentle but effective at pushing us to face our problems and insecurities while putting new productive habits and behaviors into effect. It helps us to make realistic, attainable goals and go towards them. It helps us to see the bigger picture of things so that we can make the best possible decisions. It helps reduce anxiety and negative thoughts regarding the future that may bring us down and prevent us from going towards what we want. Lepidolite's energy reminds us that we are powerful and in control of our life. It helps us to be less dependent on others and gain independence. Lepidolite also detoxifies and purifies our energy. Lepidolite does really well with crystals that it's naturally found with, such as aquamarine, tourmaline, amazonite, smoky quartz. Some other powerful crystal combinations include lepidolite with selenite, which helps to cleanse energy and provides mental clarity. You can pair lepidolite with amethyst, which in my opinion is the best combination to reduce anxiety and get better sleep. Lepidolite and moonstone improves spiritual connection. Lepidolite and celestite is also great for reducing anxiety, staying calm. It's great for meditation and inner peace. Lepidolite and smoky quartz provides a sense of stability, safety, and calm during stressful situations. So that's all I have for you today about lepidolite. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. Be sure to like the video if you liked the video and subscribe if you want to learn more about crystals. I also have a crystal shop, Cosmic Geology, which will be linked down below, and you can use code YouTube for a discount on any order at any time. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.